Hello and welcome to Cosmic Yoga. I'm Michelle Shea Walker. This is Harley. This is Bane. They're going to be making guest appearances on most of these videos. And we are going to dive in today to our Welcome to Scorpio Season series. So if you are new here, the way that these sequences work is they are more of a workshop style than an actual vinyasa flow. Occasionally we will have some flow just to get the body moving. But the way that I like to practice and the way that I like to portray these cosmically based practices is by really being in touch with what the body needs and only taking the poses, the movements, the breath, the stillness that's needed to open up those areas of the body. So we're doing a little Scorpio season flow this time. And we're going to focus on the areas that are ruled by Scorpio. So that's the genitals, because Scorpio is a very sensual sign. And then things that are connected to that area. So the reproductive organs, the hips, the lower abdomen, the sacral chakra area, essentially. So we're going to be working on passion, creativity, sensuality. Of course, all of that is through the practice of yoga. So make it what you want, take what you want, leave what doesn't work for you. And we're going to get started in a little bit of a hip opener. If you have 2 blocks and a strap, I recommend getting that. And then if you have a blanket of some sort that you can kind of fold up, that's also going to be helpful. But all of these are props that are going to be optional, except the strap, which I should probably get for myself in just a second. For myself, I don't have blocks. I have this foam roller. So basically just something that you can kind of place your hands onto to help you balance in different heights. So it could be a stack of books, it could be a couple books. Again, we can make it work no matter what it is that you're practicing with. With that in mind, I'm going to go get my strap. And my strap is simply a belt. And depending on how long your belt is, it's going to make this easier or harder for some of the things that we do. Mine's pretty short, so you'll see me work with the least amount of strap that we could possibly have. If you have more, it's probably going to be a little easier. The strap for your yoga mat's also a helpful one. And Bane's going to play with this while we get started. So get started, if you have it, with your blanket. And you're going to want it a relatively low fold of your blanket. So even this, I've folded it kind of in thirds and then over itself a couple times. And that's a bit too much even for what I need here. So I'm going to take it hamburger halfway and the other way. Bear with me as I learn to practice with a mic. And then one more in whatever direction you choose. I'm going to take this blanket. I'm going to place it right up in the hips. So just get the corner of your blanket nice and cozy there. And then we're going to take this into which one of these two feel best for you. For me, embryo pose is going to feel real good to fold over this little blanket and let it press into the hips. If you prefer to do child's pose, you can widen your knees to whatever degree feels good towards the outer edge of your mat. I just find that the blanket likes to kind of fall in between my legs when I do that. So if knees together works for you, take that. And then the other option that I have for you is as you start to fold forward over your legs, if you find that you want to place your block, your pillow, your book stack underneath your forehead to bring the earth up to you, feel free. Now, arms outstretched is option 1. You can use your props to prop them up. But I like a little relaxation. So arms towards the back of the room, palms up, shoulders relaxed is a really good one. This is my first time practicing and recording with a lapel mic. So fingers crossed that this all works. If the audio is not completely unusable, bear with me if there are times that I bump the mic or get a little funky, and there will be a learning curve to this. So as you settle in, sort of just take a little gentle rock side to side. We're kind of getting just a little mini massage of that blanket into the hips. And even if you don't feel that so much, it's a nice little massage of the belly along the blanket, along your legs. Both are great options. So you're either getting that hip massage or the low belly massage. You can also rock your forehead side to side on the block or your support if you've got it. And it wasn't my intention, but actually the forehead connection, the third eye connection, is also pretty Scorpio energy. The Scorpio energy is, in my opinion, the official start of spooky season, because you're getting all those qualities that we think of as like a witchy woman or the season of the witch. Because there is a bit of sensuality to that. There's a lot of creativity to spell work and creating things through manifestation and magic. And there's also some intuition that goes with that. When we talk about the areas of the body that are connected to these things, we have the hips, the low belly connected to that sacral chakra, which is passion, creativity, sensuality. And then that third eye area is our intuition. And from here, we're going to start to add in a little bit of a chest opener, not only to add in another element of that Scorpio, sort of finding a more open heart, allowing yourself to be more open to examining your emotions, but also because heart openers will come in handy for optional playtime posture later. So because it is Scorpio season, I feel like it would be a lost opportunity if we didn't try on a little Scorpio pose. So if that's not your thing, don't worry about it. We're going to have a whole practice before that. So just find that chest expansion grip and just take the arms as straight as feels good. And if you need to or want to, grab onto your strap and hold it taut behind you to help give a little extra space for those shoulders, that's totally fine. That would just grab your strap at whatever length works, take it behind your back, use the belt clambering, and reach up and over to whatever degree feels good. So wherever you are, straighten the arms as much as you can. If you can't all the way, that's okay. And then imagine just an energetic lift of the knuckles away from your body. I like finding that gentle movement some more. So not just rocking into the hips, but also rocking the shoulders a little bit, finding a little more movement. But just to take what feels good. Honestly, these home practices can just be you laying on the mat and listening to my voice. But take what works for you, leave what doesn't. And let your belly soften and start to massage into your blanket. Learn to tap into a state of surrender. And gently release the arms of the strap. Press into your hands and around yourself. Okay. So slow, meditative start. Nothing says that this has to be intense. Move your props off to the sides and come to a comfortable seat. So that could be Sukhasana, shin bone in front of shin bone. It can be half lotus if that's in your practice, knife edge of your foot up into a hip crease. And if you feel like you want a little elevation underneath your tailbone, you can always slide that folded up blanket underneath you so that you feel a little more pitch of your hips forward. If you have super tight hamstrings or super tight hips, you might find that you're falling backwards by just sitting on nothing or sitting on the floor. So that's always an option as well. Book also works if you don't want to do the blanket or if you want something higher than the blanket. And then just place your hands to the front of your knees, close your eyes, and start to find some alignment in your spine. So root your tailbone down into the mat. And there's a tendency here for the low back to want to sway a little bit. So tuck the tailbone enough that you start to feel that low back flatten out. You can even take your hand and check in with it. And now your heart's over your hips. And then hopefully your head is over your heart. We're aligning this heart, low belly, hips area that we're getting ready to open up. And then we're just going to take some exploratory movements here. There's not a lot of times in the yoga practice that we find sort of fluid, dancey movements, or at least not in a traditional vinyasa. So we're going to do kind of a little Kundalini awakening. So if you're not familiar with Kundalini, it's the idea in Kundalini yoga that there's a coiled up energetic serpent at the base of the spine, the bottom of the chakra system. And as we start to align our chakras, that Kundalini snake has an opportunity to curve up through the chakra system and eventually jump up to the crown It can cause really pleasant sensations if it happens suddenly. Sometimes people have described it as orgasmic. That's not what we're going for today. We're just going for that fluid snake-like energy. So as you find your alignment and your hands to the front of your knees, we're going to start just a simple seated cat-cow. So as you inhale, lift your shoulders up and down your back, open your heart forward, send your gaze slightly up, but try not to dump your head too far back just yet. Keep a little length in the back of your neck. Imagine spreading your shoulders wider so your collarbone widens. And then exhale, find a little seated cat pose, like a little black cat who, for whatever reason, is not on the camera in the moment that I'm talking about him. Hands to the front of your knees. Let that catch your body weight as you round your spine. So really let that weight just move backwards into your upper back and tuck your chin down towards your chest. Oops, might be too close to the microphone there. And then from here, we're going to take those movements, but we're going to add in a little circular movement to it. So you're going to send your upper body over towards the right, little side rib stretch, up towards the front into your seated cow, over to the left, and back down. Catch your body weight. Over to the right. Maybe your neck starts to move with it. Just start to find a little more fluid energy. Maybe even close your eyes. Make sure you feel super anchored underneath your sit bones so that as you move, you feel secure, and that will allow you to find a little more fluid movement. And then after you've done it a couple times one direction, take it the other way. So take it up the left, into your cow pose, back down the right. I don't know if the microphone is picking up on it, but the kittens are having a grand time playing on the chairs that I've moved out of the way for this recording. So just enjoy the ambiance. That's what they're there for. So take your last couple moves in whatever directions feel good. Just sort of play around with that spiral energy. And then come back to a little seat. Place your hands on your low belly. And close your eyes. Again, we're not doing traditional vinyasa. We are tapping into the energy centers that need it. Let your belly soften into your palms. I know this is hard. In our modern day culture, we're always told to kind of suck it in, to try and find that flat belly, but really find that protective energy of your hands to your low belly and let the belly soften. Start to let it expand into your palms with your inhales. And then relax any tension you're holding on to in your shoulders, your face, your jaw on your exhales. And deep breath in. And deep breath out. Continue to find that feeling of safety of your palms as your belly moves with your breath. The one con of Scorpio energy is that Scorpionic energy can be a little suspicious. They are not quick to trust. And if you find gentle movement to feel good, feel free. And notification on the phone. And so in order to sink into all of the sensual, creative juiciness of that Scorpio energy, you need to let your body feel safe. Maybe start to take your hands and rub on your upper thighs and your hips. Find any areas that need just a little love, that just need to feel like there's something there to support and feel secure. Think about the places, the spaces, the thoughts, the people in your life that make you feel safe. Let your belly expand with your inhale. Let everything relax a little more with your exhale. And then gently blink your eyes back open if they were closed. Make your way into a tabletop pose. From your tabletop, just start with a little leg extension. We're not going to take it into a full down dog. So just extend right leg back, straighten it out. Maybe pulse your heel if that feels good, or just reach the heel back. Start to feel a stretch in the back of your legs since we did that seated posture for a while. And then switch that to the other side. And your left heel back, tuck your toes, reach your heel. By the way, if you're newer to the practice, this is an intermediate practice, but you can definitely do a lot of the beginning of this. And I'm wearing socks on my mat simply because it's cold in my apartment, but no socks on the mat's going to really help you grip a little bit better. Or if you have those grippy socks, always a good option. Well, once you've done those little leg stretches, you're going to take your right foot and step it to the outer edge of your mat outside your right key finger. And then you're going to rise up into a kneeling warrior or crescent, kneeling crescent. As you find this position, you might find that if you're a little wobbly, you'll want to widen your right foot out to the outer edge of your mat so you feel more supported. And then untuck your back toes if you can. Sometimes it feels more secure to keep them tucked, but if you can untuck them, it's going to help us find a little better alignment. Once that's in place, you are going to need your strap in just a second, and you'll need your block. So if that's not already ready, go ahead and come out of the posture. Take the block near sort of your side or the front part of your mat, and then the strap just handy in head. We're going to deal with that in just a second. But hands to your hips. Sway yourself towards the front edge of your mat. And then if you can, close your eyes. We're going to find the foundation that makes us feel support and secure. Again, that trust foundation that we need for Scorpio energy to open up. Press your right heel and your left knee down into the mat and squeeze them towards one another, like your inner thighs want to ground towards one another. Find a hug up and in through your pelvic floor. So we've got the activation of the genital area, which is what the Scorpio energy is about. So you're going to hug up and into the pelvic floor to find a little control. Pull up on your low belly, like you're almost trying to lift your left hip up towards your low rib. As you feel that tailbone tuck down, press actively into the back of your back foot, or the top of your back foot, and activate your left glute. Ooh, so much going on here. Once all that's in place, with your low belly engaged, because we're protecting that sacral chakra area, but we're also protecting the low back, hands to the hips, sink your hips forward and down as much as feels good. Now, your knee can come forward. That's okay. Normally I want a knee over ankle alignment, but this is okay. The goal here is to not have the knee jutting past the toes, though. So if you do find that when you kneel forward, your knee went past your toes, you might want to walk the toes a little bit further. Keep activating your back glute. Keep pressing your back foot down. Keep tucking your tailbone underneath. Super important to keep that low belly engaged to protect your low back. The other thing about that low belly engagement is it's helping to find a stretch on the front of your left hip flexor. So we're opening up the front side of the hips, and this is the place that's the hardest one to open up when we are in fight or flight mode, when we are in a place of not trusting. So as we take this and breathe into it, I know if it's feeling super intense, first of all, if it's feeling super intense, or if you have any low back pain, come out of it until you feel a little more comfortable. And then the more you breathe into it, let that sink you into it. Because we don't want to try and force it. Again, think of it as this like not so trusting scorpion energy. Scorpion's kind of hiding in the darkest. It's not sure if it can trust you or not. And if you go too fast, it's going to sting you. So we want to make sure that we're warming up the body in the areas of Scorpio season with slow, conscious, mindful movements to build up that sense of trust. Whew, I can feel this hip flexor talking. If you want a little bit more here, hands to your hips or hands to your front thigh. I know we've set up a strap in hand. If you want to place the set on your block, you totally can. We just need it in reach later. You can place your hands to your thigh, peel your heart up, draw your shoulders down, and then we start to get into this heart opener as well. Whew. Again, if it's too intense, come out a little bit, let yourself soften into it. If you want a little more, reach your arms overhead. And if you really want to go for it, go post your arms like this and loop your shoulders up and down your back and imagine someone pulling your forearms towards the wall that's behind you. Ooh, lift your heart, pull your low belly in, sink your hips forward, but only as much as feels good. Soften your face, soften your jaw, let go of some of the control. Keep pressing into your foundation. Slow down your breath. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Relax your shoulders. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Oh, slowly bring your hands to your block, to the mat, whatever helps you to come out of it. That was a lot. I do that pose often, and I do feel that. So if you need a little rock back and forth, let that hip settle a little bit. You can even take it back into a half splits if that serves you. Extend your front leg. A little more love for the hamstrings that way. So actually go ahead and feel free to try that. So let me move that bolster out of the way. Hands to either the blocks or your block, hands to either the mat or your blocks or your bolster. And then with your inhales, reach your heart towards your toes. With your exhales, keep the legs straight. Hinge from your hip crease. Float a little deeper. Just a little counter stretch. Then come forward. And this is where this strap and this block is going to come in handy. So you're going to take your strap. My belt's super noisy. Apologies for those clangs. And you are going to strap up your back foot. The block's going to come in handy for this because that might be a little wobbly. If you feel like it's absolutely not possible to stay upright and strap up your foot in just a second, come to a seat, strap up the foot, come back to it. But you're going to take your strap and you're going to make a little lasso. So if you do have a belt, that's super helpful to be able to loop it through. If you don't, you can just double over the strap so that you have like a loop that you're dealing with and grab for both ends. I like to have the block to the side of me so I can lean into it and loop up the foot. Once you've got that strap, drop the foot back down. Now again, mine is a super tight belt here. So I'm going to be dealing with less than I would like for this. So hopefully your strap is longer than this. If your strap is not working for you, I'll show you another option to this in just a second. We're going to take a little back quad stretch here. So you're going to send your block or whatever it is that you're bracing yourself with further forward. Again, it can be books, it can be anything. It can be a chair even next to you. But whatever helps you keep this balance. And you're going to start to lean forward so that you're coming forward of that front knee as you bend the leg. So we don't want to be resting on the kneecap right on top of it so that it feels like it's hurting. You want to come far enough forward that you're almost the top of the kneecap, the bottom of your quad. And then you're going to take your strap up and over your shoulder. Once you've got this, you could stay here, or you can start to pulley that strap up over your shoulder and bend your knee a little more as you sink your hips forward. Oh, it is a lot. If you're dealing with a strap, please go as slowly as you need to warm up with this. If you're not with a strap and you do not have one, the other option is to use a wall space. So if you are utilizing a wall space, you'll probably want to drag your mat over to it, trying to figure out where the best method for you to see what I'm doing here is in the space. I've got a wall back here. You're going to start by getting that back leg in place by scooting the top of your foot up the wall. Now your knee doesn't have to be right up against the wall. Give yourself some space if you want to. Figure out where it is that that foot's going to go against the wall, and then step your other foot forward. And then this is where it's going to start to get a little more intense as you rise up. So you can find your block. You maybe don't have to rise up all the way. As you feel more comfortable, you can rise up, maybe with your block, maybe with your hand to your front thigh. If you find that you have more room, you can scoot yourself a little close to the wall, get a little deeper bend in that back knee. Again, low belly engaged. Sink your hips forward and down. Ooh. If you are against the wall, I find that that one's the more intense on my knee. So if you need to double up your mat to have extra padding underneath it, oh, that's going to feel much better. So we're hanging out. If you've got the strap, you've been hanging out here for a while. Deep breath in. Maybe sink the hips a little lower. Deep breath out. If you got the strap, you can pull it a little deeper. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And gently use whatever support you need to take yourself out of the position that you found yourself in. And then I'm going to take a little seated stretch just because that back knee has been bent for a little bit. So sit down, extend your left leg long, and just rotate your torso to face over that leg. And whatever degree feels good, maybe you grab your calf, maybe you grab your ankle, maybe you grab your toes, maybe you find a strap and you strap up your leg. Just flex the toes back towards your body. Glue your right glute down so you get a nice little low back opening as well. And with your inhale, reach your heart towards your toes. With your exhale, fold with as flat as back as you can manage. We're not going to be super technical about this one. Gently pull your left rib cage back and up and drop your right rib cage down and forward so you remain facing over that extended leg. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. And then gently rise up. We're going to do the other side. So starting in your tabletop position. Take your left foot, step it forward towards the outer edge of your mat. Have whatever block support or strap support that you need nearby and start to rise up. Once you rose up, we're going to start with just that back hip flexor. Hands to your thighs, pull up on your low belly, squeeze your foundation down. If you need to widen your front foot out, do so, but squeeze your heel and knee towards one another. Press the top of your back foot if it's down into the mat. Activate your right glute. Keep that low belly lifted. Sink your hips forward and down. Again, the knee can come forward, but if it comes super far past your toes, walk the front toes. Give a little more space. Whew. Again, you can stay here. Keep your low belly engaged. Keep your right glute turned on, press in the top of your back foot. If you want more, press into your thigh, fill your heart up, draw your shoulders down. Soften. Remember, we have to find that sense of security and trust. So if you need to come out and let your body trust you, take that opportunity to slow it down, to sink into it slowly. It's like going into a dating relationship with someone that is an avoidant. You don't want to try and go too fast too soon. You're going to scare the little squirrel away. And then if you want, reach up. If you want the deepest one, go push your arms. Loop your shoulders up and down. Imagine this forearm is being pulled back. Whew. Keep pressing into your foundation. Keep your low belly engaged. Come out if you need to. If you start to feel like you're tensing everything up or you're feeling like you're not safe, come to a position that feels safe and then start to slowly sink back into it. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Deep breath in. Think the hips a little lower if it feels good. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then using whatever support you need, bring yourself back up. Take it in that little half splits just to do a little bit of a hamstring stretch. Hands can go to your props or to the mat. With your inhale, reach your heart towards your toes. With your exhale, fold a little deeper. Shoulders down your back, heart open. Breath in. Deep breath out. And then gently find your strap, find your blocks. Come back up using your props. If you know that you used a wall the last time, go ahead and take the wall. If you're taking the strap, I'm going to go ahead and hang out with you guys this time. Again, knee, double up underneath the mat, underneath your knee, if that works best for you. Find your support. Strap up your back foot. Make sure that you're rocked forward enough that you feel like you're not on the top of your kneecap where it hurts, but instead you're near the bottom of your quad. Send your strap up and over your shoulder. Whew. And you can do either shoulder. I feel like last time I had it in the opposite hand, so I'm going to do that just for balance. So if you had left hand for the left foot on the left side, take it over your right shoulder this time. Just try and find a little balance. And then use your props as much as you need to. Again, it can be a chair, it can be a wall, it can be whatever makes you feel stable. And when you're ready, start to sink the hips. Start to pulley the foot. Oh, I think I bumped the microphone. Sorry if you heard that. Soften your shoulders, soften your face. Only go as deep as your body trusts you to do so. And be nice to your body, guys. Treat it like a little pet that you're trying to make sure that you gain and keep its trust. Don't do anything that would make it want to cower in the corner and not come talk to you for a while. Treat it like the cats that keep crossing through the video here. Deep breath in. Maybe sink your hips a little lower. Deep breath out. Maybe pull a little bit more. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. And from wherever you are, use the support that you need to come out of it. Woo. And then we're going to come to the seat so the back knee gets a little stretch. Extend your right leg out long, left foot to your inner thigh. Strap, no strap, it's up to you, but you're going to rotate your torso over towards your right leg. Find your strap, find your foot, find your calf, whatever feels good. With your inhale, find more length. With your exhale, fold. Draw your shoulders down, keep your heart open. Glue your left glute down to the mat, get a little low back release. Pull your right rib cage up and back. And drop your left rib cage down and forward. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then inhale, slowly rise up. Move some of your props off to the side and make your way into tabletop position. From tabletop, we're going to do just a little bit of core because it'll prime us for what we want to do later if we want to. Forearms to the mat, palms out in front of it. Step your feet back into a forearm plank. Oh, this is where I wish that I didn't have socks on, but my feet are so cold. As you step back, drop your hip points down in line with your armpits. So try not to TP your body up just yet. We'll get there in just a second. But try to find maybe a flat line-ish underneath you from your armpits down to the tops of your feet. Draw your shoulders down your back and press into your elbows so you start to feel a little opening across the back of your heart so that you're not dumping into the shoulder blades. Gaze down, keep your neck long. Imagine there's a string tucking your heels back and your crown forward. This is a lot. Pull your low belly in. Whew. Keep breathing. And then from here, we're going to take it into dolphin pose. But a lot of times we take it into dolphin by just walking the feet in. I want you to think of your low belly pulling you up and in. So pull your low belly up, lift your hips. That's where you start. Then use that low belly engagement. Start to scoot your feet in and continue to feel like your low belly is lifting your hips up towards the sky. Keep your shoulders stacked over your elbows. If they want to come forward, you want to come back. And if this doesn't feel good, you can drop down into Sphinx pose at any time, take a little break. But if you're in this pose and you want a little more, straighten the leg, take it high. Maybe even find a little hip opener while you're there. Oh. Once you've done that, take it high again and drop it down. Take the other side. Straighten the leg up. First with the hips squared, then bend your knee, open the hip. Oh. Shoulders still over your elbows. Bring it back, square it down, drop it down. Sphinx pose. Everybody walk your feet back. Drop your hips down. Oh, send your heart forward. Okay, so your elbows are still underneath your shoulders, palms out in front of you. Sphinx pose, sometimes we get a little dumpy into our low back here. So if you feel any pinching in your low back, press the tops of your feet and activate your quads like you're trying to lift your knees off the mat. That activation is going to help you a little bit. And then press in your fingers. And without doing much movement, imagine trying to use your fingertip strength to pull your heart forward and draw your shoulder blades down your back. Whew. You're getting a little more into the heart. You also can let your belly start to move with your breath here, and you're getting a little low belly massage into the mat. Send your gaze down between your forefingers so that your neck feels long. And then take a little neck stretch. Drop your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Switch it out to the other side. Left ear toward your left shoulder. Take a little half circle. Hopefully this won't be too close to the mic. Chin towards your chest. Back up the other side. And switch it out the other direction. Oh. And then nice juiciness. Come down. I'm going to stay propped up a little bit so that I'm not in the mic. But if you want to come down, palms stacked on top of one another, rest your forehead to the mat. I think it's called crocodile pose in some yin practices. But there's also other poses called crocodile, so I just call it hand pillow. Rest your forehead down. As you're doing that, relax your shoulders. Again, I'm staying upright just because of the microphone. Relax your shoulders down. Allow your belly to soften. Let it move into the mat with you when you breathe in. And let it relax when you breathe out. Notice how this is a little belly massage into the mat. And then after that little break, come back up. Slide your palms outside your low ribs. Point your elbows up. Point your fingers forward. Bring your forehead to the mat. Press into the tops of your feet so you're lifting your thighs and knees just like you might have done in your Sphinx pose. And inhale, cobra. Let's start with the baby cobra. Just peel it up enough that you can hover your hands and still keep the tops of your feet down as your spine starts to strengthen. Draw your shoulders down your back, squeeze your elbows towards one another, point them up like little cricket legs. Deep breath in. Exhale, drop your forehead down. And we're going to do another one of those, but walk your hands a little more underneath your shoulders, a little further forward, but keep your elbows still hugging back. Exhale out your still air. Press in the tops of your feet. Inhale, cobra pose. This time, the hands are staying connected to the mat, but rather than thinking of pressing down to straighten your arms and go super deep into it, keep the hands light, but press into your fingertips and drag your heart forward like you did in Sphinx pose. Ooh. Press in the tops of your feet, lift your quads, lift your knees. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring your forehead back down. This time, if you want it, fingertips to the mat, slightly forward of your shoulders, a little teepee of your fingers up. Elbows point up, shoulder blades draw down together behind you. Press into the tops of your feet. Exhale out your still air. Inhale, cobra pose. This one, you might start to get a little more weight in the arms. Because you're up on your fingertips, you're not going to crank it into the arms super deep, and that's okay. Keep pressing the tops of your feet. Keep lifting your knees. If you feel like you're ready to take it a little bit deeper, Maybe start to straighten the arms to any degree, but hug your shoulders together and back. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring it back down. Woo. From here, we're going to take a little shoulder stretch. So semi-prone shoulder stretch is what I like to call this one. I'm going to start the opposite of what I'm saying, just so that I'm facing towards camera first. Send your right arm straight out to the right side of you so that it's like an airplane wing. So perpendicular to your body. And then send your right hand or your left hand out to the side of you and gently start to roll over onto your right hip. So rest your temple down. I'm staying lifted just so that I don't speak into the mic, but either rest your temple down to the mat, or if you feel like putting your blanket or your blocks underneath it, feel free. Your arm is still in that perpendicular shape, reaching out to the opposite side wall. This might be enough. If you're even kind of folding forward a little bit with your hand to prop you up, that's okay. If your shoulder still needs time to open, let it take that time. But as you start to find a little more stacked hip alignment, you have some options. You can keep the leg stacked, keep the palm in front of you. Or if you want to take it deeper, pick your right foot up. Nope, your left foot. Sorry, got to be your mirror image. Pick your left foot up and place it behind your right knee. If you want more, take a little half bind. Just reach that top arm up and around the small of your back. Relax your shoulders down. I'm going to really scoop this blanket up because my neck is complaining. Normally I would let it rest on the mat, but I think I'll be too close to my microphone if I do that. And then once you're here, whatever it is that you're doing, stack legs, knee up, whatever one you're in, imagine a string pulling your left hip back and down slightly. Breathe into the right shoulder. And particularly focus a little relaxation and breath into the space in front of your armpit on the lower side. Opening up that area that likes to hunch us forward. Getting better posture in the process. And then gently plant your left palm back to your side. Guide yourself slowly back over onto your belly. So I'm not going to flip around face camera for this one because sometimes seeing the back half of it will clarify some stuff if you're still confused as to what that pose was. So send your left arm out to the side. Start to rotate over onto your left side. Again, this other hand's just out in front of you for support. Head can rest onto the blanket, a block, or the mat. You can keep a little lean forward towards your palm. You can stack your hips. You can pick your right foot up and place it on the earth behind your left knee. You can take a half bind with that top arm if it calls to you. Just let that right hip start to melt back and down. So for this semi-prone shoulder stretch, you're imagining that your low back wants to meet the mat. Eventually, one day, if you're really flexible, it might even get there. The fullest expression of the pose does involve the sacrum on the mat and both knees towards the sky, but that is not necessarily the ultimate goal to get to the best version of the stretch for your body. So just imagine that hip drifting backward. And send your breath and intention to that space in front of your armpit. Let your shoulders relax. And then gently plant your right palm out in front of you. Guide yourself back over onto your belly. Ooh. From this belly down position, if you have any props to the side that you've got, hopefully my mic's going to maintain for this next pose. We are going to get a little more into the heart opener. So I'm going to offer up a floor bow. If you know that your body is not ready for floor bow, I'm going to talk about the alternate option before we get into it. Alternate option for this would be a bound locust, interlacing your fingers behind your back, lift your chest and your legs, reach your knuckles back, lift them away from your glutes. So that's option 2 for what I'm about to cue. So if you start to get into the other one and that's not serving you, come back to what I just said. For floor bow, kick your heels up towards your glutes, reach back, grab for the outer edges of your feet. Draw your knees to hips with distance so you're protecting your low back. Hopefully my microphone's still cooperating. And then as you find that grip on the outer edge of your feet, try to relax your chest completely. So that front of the armpit relaxation that we were trying to get in that other stretch, take that here. Try not to let the chest take over, and instead your legs are going to be what's going to lift you. So exhale out your still air. Inhale, floor bow, kick into your palms, let the leg strength lift you. If your chest tried to take over, relax it so it can open a little more. Maybe you kick a little harder, deep breath in. Exhale, slowly return to the mat. Release the arms, release the legs. Find that little crocodile or hand pillow position. And rest your forehead down again. Belly breaths into the mat. Slow it down. Those heart openers kick things back up again. And then gently plant your palms under your shoulders and press yourself up to a tabletop position. From your tabletop position, we're going to take a little extension of opposite arm, opposite leg. So root down into your left hand, your right knee. Extend your right hand forward, extend your left leg back. Then kick your left heel up towards your glute. Flip your right thumb to face down towards the mat so the palm is open as you reach back and grab the inside arch of your foot. Now this can get a little wobbly, so if you feel a little wobble here and you need more stability, shift your right back shin so it's more 45-degree angle behind you so that you feel like you've got a little more leverage to rest on. But if you can challenge yourself to keep the legs straight back, do so. Once you have that grip of your hand to the inside arch of your foot, keep your foundation strong in your left hand and your right knee and start to kick your palm into your foot. You can keep your gaze down or you can start to lift your gaze and open your heart. Now, there are two things happening here. There's the heart opener, but there also can potentially be a hip flexor and quad stretch. So if you want a little bit more of that leg stretch, kick a little harder into your palm and your foot will start to rise. That's going to be what creates that stretch on the hip flexor. Try to keep the knee pointing down rather than out to the side. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then inhale, extend everything. Exhale, bring your hand and your knee back down to the mat. Whew. All right, we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. So root down into your right hand, your left knee. Send your left hand forward, send your right heel back. Kick your heel up towards your glute. Spin your thumb to face down so your palms open as you reach back and grab the inside arch of your foot. And then start to kick into your palm. Maybe you keep your gaze down, maybe you start to send it forward and open your heart. Again, you can spin that back shin to a 45-degree angle if you need more balance, more leverage. If you want more for the back quad and hand and hip flexor, kick into your palm. Let your foot start to rise in space. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then inhale, find an extension. Exhale, palm and knee back to the mat. Take it back into little child's pose, embryo pose, whatever you started class in that felt good. If you want the blanket, we won't be here long, but you can always take that prop again. If you want a bolster underneath your forehead, take that. Okay. Feel free to stay and keep breathing. This is the part we're going to split off into potentially two different groups. If you're here for the nice juicy stretchiness and you want to just continue in that vibe, we are going to wind down with a lot of good hip stretches here in just a bit. But if you want a little more active energy to your practice, and if you want to stay with that scorpion theme, I am going to do a demo for a scorpion pose. Now, this is an arm balance that normally has another arm balance that gets taught before it, which is feathered peacock or forearm stand. So I'm going to show you the progression of the way there, but I want to stress a lot because this class is available to all levels. Up until now, we've gotten a little challenging, but it is accessible for most levels. Arm balance and inversions are like a whole other part of the practice. And if that's not your thing, or if it's just not your thing today, don't worry about it. Don't feel like you need to do it. It is one of my favorite postures to get into if I am in the mood to go into an inversion though. So I do enjoy showing the process of this, but there's a lot going on in it. So if you're feeling lower energy, stay in your child's pose, get your cozy blanket involved, do what you need to do to feel like you can just hang out and rest while other people do some arm balance and inversion playtime. So I'm going to try and find a position that I can set my mat up and not be super close to these shelves. So hopefully you have a little bit of space. I have less space than I would like, but I'm still on camera and that's what's important. So for this one, you are going to start, and I'm going to try and tuck my shirt in so hopefully the microphone stays in place, with your forearm to the mat, just like we did for our dolphin pose. And actually, you're going to take it into dolphin pose. So walk your feet in, lift your hips up, nice and strong through the low belly. Then you're going to find your favorite leg, the one that feels super active when you reach it up. So the leg wants to be straight because it's like your rocket ship that's going to propel you up towards space. So don't have a curved rocket. Don't break your rocket. Make sure that it's straight and strong. So whichever leg feels the best when it's straight and strong and you feel like it's super active, take that leg up. Then take the bottom leg, and this is your launching pad. It is not the engine of your rocket. It's simply going to be where you kick off from. So think of a tiny bend to that bottom knee, lift the heel, and just start to practice a little springboard there. But as you springboard, don't forget what's going on in this back leg. So as you bend the bottom leg, don't bend the top leg. Keep it straight. Once you've got that little springboard and you've noticed that that top leg can stay straight, imagine trying to pull your heel up like you're trying to lift your hips over your shoulders. That's the action that you want to get into forearm stand. Maybe you take a little hop up. Maybe you take a couple. If you find your place with your hips over your shoulders, bring the legs together. Now, if you want to take this into scorpion pose, bring the toes to touch, separate the knees, start to bend your knees and send your feet backwards. But as you do, you're going to want to fall back. So you want to counter it by sending your gaze forward. And depending on the flexibility of your spine, will depend on how close your toes get to the top of your head. Whew. Okay. If you're still playing, play. But I want to make sure that I myself am winding down and everyone else that didn't do the active practice gets a little more from it. So play with that as long as you want. If you're watching this in replay, you can pause while you play around. If you are ready to wind down, or when you are ready to wind down, come to a seat. We are going to start with double pigeon or fire log pose. So I'm going to try and be your mirror image and say the opposite of what I'm doing up here. Begin with your right shin parallel to the front edge of your mat or whatever you're practicing towards. Flex your ankle, super important. Flexing through the ankle helps to activate all these nice muscles and tendons to protect the knee joint when we go into these hip openers. So your ankle is directly out from your knee and it's flexed. So your shin is parallel in front of you. Then you're going to take your right ankle, flex it, and take your ankle to the inside of your left thigh below your knee. Ideally, what you want is for the knife edge of your foot to be hanging off the edge of your thigh. So ankle on top of the side of the thigh, knife edge of the foot hanging off. I stress this because there's a lot of times that people try to get into this pose and they can't quite get there and they do something funky with their foot and their ankle. Please don't do that. If you cannot get the hook of your foot to the outer edge of your thigh, the safer, more beneficial thing for your body to do is going to be to take figure 4 and extend your bottom leg long, and that'll hopefully help you to hook your ankle. Another option, microphone. Another option, if this doesn't feel like quite enough to extend the leg long, you can take a seated supine figure 4, but I feel like this is a lot. Even on my body, I don't like holding this position upright, so I prefer this one if you're not going to have both knees bent and be able to cross the ankle in proper alignment. Once this is in place, or this is in place, you can always put some support underneath that top knee if it's feeling like it's super up here. If you're not super flexible, this location with some support or that bottom leg extended is going to be really good for you. If you are more flexible or if you just want more from the posture, start by rooting down equally through both glutes because that right glute likes to pick up and move forward, so press it back down. Then you have the option to just treat this like a little meditation on relaxing your hips. Close your eyes, try to soften that right hip as much as you can, let the leg grow heavy, maybe even give your top foot a little massage. Or you can start to spill your pelvic bowl forward and find either a flat back forward fold to whatever degree feels good, or build up some sort of prop support out in front of you and fold into it. If you have both knees bent, check in with your left ankle. It likes to creep back toward your body when you fold forward. Walk it underneath your knee. So the 2 legs bent posture should be top ankle just behind the knee, bottom ankle underneath your top knee. Pause here. Slow things down. Let your belly move with your breath and continue to root down equally through both sit bones. And this is where we're moving into that space again of creating a sense of trust. The body, the mind with your breath, of coaxing that little scorpion out of a dark corner so that it doesn't feel like it wants to sting you, it wants to be your friend. And honestly, Scorpio season is so much about getting comfortable with our own dark corners that sometimes that's what you need to build trust. You need to go into the darkness, to be unafraid to examine the feelings you're having, even when society has deemed them as not ideal, not happy-go-lucky, sunshiny and rainbows. Get comfortable with the entire spectrum of your emotions. Also important for opening the hips. When you inhale, reach back up or come back up if you folded forward. Switch it out to the other side. So your right shin is going to go on bottom. Left ankle crosses. Again, if you can't get that complete cross with your knife edge of your foot hanging off the edge, extend your bottom leg. You can start by finding that rooted sit bones on both sides. Root down into the left glute as much as your right. If you want a little more, start to spill your pelvic bowl forward. If you want to go into more relaxed state, or head to some sort of prop situation out in front of you. And actually, while we're here, whether you're seated upright or in a forward fold, a little bonus tip here is to give a little mini reflexology. Like, I'm not trained in reflexology, but I do like to nerd out on it a lot. And the outer edges of the feet are kind of indicators of our hormone balancing. So if you want to just kind of like pinch like top part of your hand to, or top fingers to the top of your foot, and then thumb just kind of grazing the outer edge of your foot. I don't know if I can see this on camera, but if you were just kind of grab the side of your foot and just let that thumb slide out, just a little mini massage there all the way down the outer edge. That's in theory giving us a little hormonal alignment boost. And then inhale, rise back up. From here, extend the legs out long. Inhale, reach up. Maybe you grab your strap. I like it. Maybe you find a strap around your feet. Exhale, fold. Try to keep a flat back. We're not going to be super regimented about this one, just like we were in our other forward folds. But anytime you're doing a forward fold and you're trying to stretch your hamstrings, the flatter the back, the more the stretch stays in your legs. Slow it down. You don't have to go super deep. That's why I like the strap. Strap helps you to keep the open heart, and it also gives you a little sensation through the legs, even if you don't fold into it too much. And then inhale, slowly rise up. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees out wide. Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose. Bring your hands to the inside of your feet like you're just trying to open up a book. And then as you inhale, lift up through your heart. As you exhale, lean into it, and maybe even find a little slow, juicy, sensual rock into it. Don't think about necessarily going deeper. Just think about warming up the hips a little bit with some movement. And as they start to feel more comfortable, then you can start to fold into it a little more. If the rocking back and forth doesn't serve you, don't worry about it. If you do come low enough, like I am, because I'm super flexible from the hips from birth, you can bring your elbows to your thighs, press them down. But think of reaching your navel towards the arch of your feet so that you feel a little lengthening forward through your torso. Soften through your jaw and your shoulders, and just imagine gravity gently pulling your knees a little heavier as you exhale. If you feel like you want some support, you can always find a prop out in front of you and round into it. And deep breath in. And deep breath out. And then inhale, slowly rise up. Ooh, I got some little neck. Actually, we'll do some neck stretches since I did that. If you remember what ankle you crossed forward or on top in Sukhasana or half lotus at the beginning of class, take the opposite ankle forward. But if you don't freak out about it. That's just an option to balance things out from a callback. Take a little walk of your fingertips out to the side. This wasn't planned, but I feel like we might need it because we're changing our perspectives in the Scorpio season transition. top hand of your opposite hand. So if you've got the right hand on this side, left hand up and over the top edge of your ear, draw your opposite shoulder down towards, or opposite ear down towards your shoulder. Press your head slightly back, relax your shoulders down, reach the opposite fingertips long. Deep breath in. Let the hand to the side of your head go heavier, deep breath out. And then inhale, bring your head back through center. Walk the opposite hand out the side, whatever that is. Loop your other hand up and over the top edge of your head. Let your ear go down towards your shoulder. Press the back of your head back, draw your shoulder down. Reach your fingers with the energy. And then inhale, bring your head back through center. We're going to lie down on the mat. So take most of your props within reach, because I'm going to have options for lots of them, and lie back onto the mat. As you lie back, just hug your knees into your chest. Give a little rock from side to side. It's up to you how close together the knees are. If it feels better to hug them wider towards your armpits, sometimes that gives the low belly area a little more space. And then I want to really stress here a not so recognized aspect of the sacral chakra, which is playfulness. We're going to take happy baby here, knees out wide, feet towards the ceiling, hands to either your feet, your ankles, your calves, the backs of your thighs. And as you find your happy baby, the only thing that I want from you is ground your sacrum, let your low back rest down, keep your shoulders and head relaxed. And then from there, find something that feels good. Maybe you start to rock it side to side. Maybe you feel like you have some kinks in your legs and you decide to do some little happy baby kicks. They don't even have to go completely straight. Just start to make some shapes that feel good. Maybe you don't make any movement at all. Maybe you just stay still and use your arm strength to keep your ankles over your knees and pull your thighs straight down for a little more opening. Relax your jaw and your shoulders. Again, try to relax your low back down. Allow your belly to move with your breath. Feel the earth beneath you supporting you to reestablish that sense of trust. And then inhale, hug your knees into center. Drop your feet down towards the mat and cross your right ankle over your left. Let your right knee fall open. Whew, already I felt a little more opening in that hip. Send your arms either out to a T or to a goalpost and scoot your hips over to the right side of your mat. Let your figure four shape fall onto its side over to the left. So that right foot's going to stamp down, still hooked to the top edge of your thigh, and your right knee's going to point up. Glue your right shoulder back down to the mat if it lifted up, and you have the option to either gaze up or turn your head to gaze off to the right. This is a hip opening option for your supine twist with the figure four. If you find that you would rather deepen the twist to your torso because your body's just craving that extra spinal twist, you can take it into eagle legs. Hug the thighs closer together so that the knees close off and let both knees fall over. But I recommend taking your block, your bolster, your rolled up towel, your rolled up blanket, and placing some sort of support underneath your top knee. Again, keep your right shoulder grounded. With your inhale, let your body expand. And with your exhale, again, find that sense of trust of the earth beneath you and melt into the mat. Where are you holding on? Where are you tensing up? Let it go. You are being supported. Settle in. Then inhale, draw your legs back through center. Start with that figure four. Hook your left ankle on top of your thigh. Let the knee fall open. Scoot your hips over to the left. Let your figure four shape fall over to the right. Left foot down, left knee up, left shoulder to the mat. If at some point you took it into your eagle legs, close off the inner thighs, find your support, let the knees fall over. Keep gluing your left shoulder down. With your inhales, find more space. And with your exhales, let gravity support you. Let it pull you deeper. Surrender. Surrender the sense of trust, the sense of flow, the sense of creativity. Surrender to your own passionate, sensual nature. All things that we need to feel safe for: creativity, sensuality, looking at the dark sides. Create that safe space. And bring your knees back through center. I have several little options for you to end your practice in a meditation. First option, Shavasana. Just extend the legs long, arms to your sides. Second option, a supported fish. Take your blocks or your bolster, or maybe even a burrito rolled blanket. Place it underneath you, behind your heart. Lie back into it. Let your shoulders wrap around it. Third option, you can add in Baddha Konasana legs with either of those. Soles of your feet together, knees out wide. Or final option, back into a seated meditation. Wherever you land, close your eyes. Allow yourself to feel safe and supported. Let your belly move with your breath. If you feel called to place your hands on the lower abdomen again, feel free. Create that safe space, not just for your belly, but for yourself, your own energy, your body, your dreams. Scorpio season, season of the witch, the magical, spooky season that lots of us know and love, is only at its most powerful when you feel grounded and rooted in yourself. So cultivate the rituals, the magical practices that you need in everyday life to feel grounded, secure, and safe, so that you can go into the shadows and explore and come back out without being in this fight or flight, scorpion in a corner, ready to strike state. What makes you feel safe? What makes you feel open? What allows you to soften into the good and the bad? Create that space for yourself on a daily basis. Even if your ritual or practice is simply 5 minutes, you can be sitting here with your hands on your belly and your breath. You can be coming back to a sequence like this to really intensify the opening in the areas that might physically need it in your body. It could be as simple as sitting in a mini meditation, picturing a protective bubble around you so that you don't feel quite so suspicious of the outside world. Know that you are protected. Know that you're safe. And know that embracing those things helps you to create even more magic. Stick with this for as long as you wish. I hope this served you well, and I hope that you have a super magical Scorpio season.